we are Amazee Labs. We are a service provider, so we don't have a product to sell as he does. So we thought a lot like, okay, what could we sell you? So we said, okay, we have a lot of experience and we don't want to sell it because we are Drupal. So I can give it for free. And we're going to tell you how our experience was running production sites in Drupal 8 in alpha and beta. Who are we, or who is me? I'm Michael, or people call me Schnitzel. I'm the head technology of Amazee Labs. We have offices in Austin, Zurich, and Cape Town, South Africa, and we do Drupal and only Drupal. So a bit our journey. What did we do? We have our own website, and in April 2014, yes, 1.5 years ago, we sat at the table and we said, okay, there's this Drupal 8 coming. Let's build it in Drupal 8. So it was alpha, no beta yet, and it was quite a journey. We built it already in 2 languages. We fixed a lot of issues. We fixed things horribly because we had to go live, but it worked. Then Drupal.com came. So Drupal.com is more the business side of Drupal.org, where on Drupal.com you find a lot of case studies of people that build already or who build stuff on Drupal 7 and 8. You'll find marketing material if you need people to convince others why to use Drupal. That's your resource. And of course it's Drupal and it's owned by Dries. And he asked us if we can do it, and we did it. So in September 2014 we launched Drupal.com in Drupal 8 beta as well, in only 1 language right now. But Drupal is used and spoken all over the world, so we're going to probably use it, or we're definitely going to translate it as well to others. Then we had a client in Switzerland. We called that brochure site. So these are just sites that basically tell who we are, what do we do, and we maybe have a news platform or news part. That's it. That's for us a brochure site, and we built that in Drupal 8. And they really liked it because now they're ready for the future. They don't have to worry at all about how do I upgrade my site. That was in January 2015 and was the first one in 4 languages. So we stepped up the game a bit. Then we built a really easy site. We needed a website to show our group. So Amazee has a holding company on top. It's a 1-pager, basically done in 7 hours. So super easy, but people really like it. And now everybody in the team starts to use Drupal 8. So that was in May 2015, a really easy site. Then we had a bigger one. Switzerland likes to build tunnels, and we just recently built the longest tunnels in the world. So we want to celebrate that. So we actually launched a website with the Swiss Transit or the Swiss rail system, but also with the government that shows why it's done, how it's done. It's a beautiful site, and again, it's a brochure site, so we built it in Drupal 8. What they didn't tell us, though, is that they're going to post it in the newsletter and on their homepage, so it had to scale. Luckily, we were not hosted with you, but our site could handle it, and Drupal 8, the caching was unbelievable good, so that worked out really well. So that was in June 2015. It's called Gotardo 2016. It's Drupal 8 beta as well and has 5 languages. And we're working on more. So every site that currently goes out, that is only the brochure site, is built by us in Drupal 8. So we have right now 4 that are in building, and some of them we're already done, and they're really close to going out. So too long, didn't read, it works. And it's really great. So coming back from starting from 6 to 7, it's a completely different story. It's so much better. And I'm going to show you what parts were really great and why we believe that you have to use it. Sometimes, though, you have to be a bit creative. Like, you have to know Drupal in its own, because sometimes you go to the website and it's just white. No error, nothing there. And then you maybe have to use your tools that you know, or sometimes there's a Contrib module that is missing, and then you have to come up with cool solutions because it's not stable. There's a reason why it's not out there. But as Drupal developers, we like challenges, and so we go in there and we do them. And the interesting is, at our company, nobody wants to go to Drupal 7 anymore. Well, we have to, because we have big sites that need all these Contrib modules, and we have to, but if they can choose, like every project that we start, like the Scrum teams, it's like, we would like how can we do it now? It is possible. Yeah, okay, we're going to do it. Sometimes you have to step in and say, like, commerce is not there yet. So, but it's really cool to see people being really excited and waiting for it. So we go through the different parts, what we saw that people are liked. First of all, the editors, the people that are using the site. The fun is we didn't even tell them that there's a new Drupal version because they were used to Drupal 7 and they didn't realize. They just used it right away. Well, yeah, the things were a bit on a different layout, but in the end, it looks still like Drupal. It's the same way if you use TK editor in 7, it's already there in 8. The behavior, it's still called the nodes, the overview list is still the same, there's a translate tab. It's just overall, it's the same. And they really like the new layout so that the tabs or the according things at the bottom are now on the right side, so they can immediately see. There's a publish button directly, so it's much easier. And they just told us, like, can't you please also enable that layout on Drupal 7? And I was like, yeah, no, doesn't work. Multilingual for us, Switzerland has having 4 official languages where English is none of them, so actually having 5 is really important. And I have to say, and that's also, I'm still part of the multilingual team for Drupal 8, everything is translatable out of core. If you want to know, I gave a presentation, I think, last DrupalCon Europe. Why? So in Drupal 7, you need 29 modules to install to translate every single string on a Drupal 7 site. In Drupal 8, there are 4, and they're already coming with core. So if you install Drupal 8 core right away, you can translate everything. And that's freaking awesome, to be honest. The site builders, it feels right and complete. So an example for that, let's say you want to add a link to a blog in Drupal 7. Doesn't work out of the box unless you put the link just in the body field, because you cannot add fields. Yes, there's a beans module that does that, but again, it's not there. In Drupal 8, everything is an entity and almost everything is fieldable. So from a building perspective, you can reuse the tools that you use in other areas in Drupal. You can just reuse, and that makes it much easier. Because the concepts that somebody understood for like the fields, you can then use on other. You have different view modes, you have other things, and it's just much easier to work overall in it, and not like needing to install that Contrib module, and if you want to do that, then you can't do that, and these things. One of the really hard things, if you're going to start using it, trust that. So there are, now we have block instances and custom block libraries. It's a bit confusing. Give yourself time, play around with it. Basically what we did, in Drupal 7, you cannot place a block multiple times in a region. Doesn't work unless you have like block clone or something. In 8, you can do that out of the box, and these are instances. It's a bit confusing from the beginning. But it works, and we use it a lot. I mean, that was almost the first only possible layouting system that we had, was placing blocks back to the old days. But it worked, and it's a bit strange sometimes. And as I said, you have to be a bit creative. So like we had missing node queues. We need node queues to get the editors, like to say, okay, which news you wanted to show on the front page, which we would do with Drupal 7, no problem. In 8, there is no node queues, but you have blocks and you have entity references. So a node queue is nothing else than a block with an entity reference that you just reference your nodes and you can drag them around, and the block has a display and you show the blocks in it, the nodes, the reference blocks on the front page in a specific view mode. It's there, done. You don't need a Contrib module anymore. So a lot of time we have discussions like, okay, we need that. This doesn't exist in Drupal 8 in Contrib yet. How are we going to do it? And then we talk and talk and talk, and we realize, well, we can actually do it with the core stuff. So sometimes we have to be creative. And also really interesting is that Drupal 7 site builders, they pick it up in like 2 hours. Because again, the systems is the same as Drupal 7. There is no real big change that happens in the UI. People that know how to set up a content type can do it immediately in Drupal 8. We did 3 trainings in different DrupalCons for Drupal 8, people that never used Drupal 8, and they've built their own site in a whole day. It was possible. So it's definitely not that scary thing that everybody says like, oh, Drupal 8 is so different. We'll see where it is different later. Or we see it now in the backend. Drupal 8 is object-oriented all the way. So if your developers do not know object-oriented, that is going to be hard. And that is definitely one of the scary part. There are some people that really dislike the change to object-oriented. If we see, though, in the other areas of PHP, especially with PHP 5.6, with PHP 7, it's where PHP goes, and Drupal just follows that. So my developers that are really into object-oriented, they love it. They really like it. And it's great because the entity API that is now in core, no matter if you want to create a node by code, if you want to create a user by code, if you want to generate a view by code, or if you want to create, I don't know, your custom entity by code, it works exactly the same. There's no difference anymore. And that just makes it much easier for people when they once picked up the entity API, they can do everything on your site via code. We have a new thing that is called plugins and services, which basically allows you to hack core without hacking core, which is also really great. If you dislike a part of Drupal, it's 99% it's a service, so you can just override it. You can say, okay, like let's say you don't like Guzzle, the HTTP client in Drupal. If you don't like it, you just disable it and you enable your own. You don't have to hack core anymore. You can just say, replace that subsystem, please replace it. And that allows us to much easier work with core and stuff. One thing we learned, though, if you don't have an IDE, it will be really hard. So our whole company switched completely to PHP Storm. Even the front-end people they used other things before, but now, because the type ahead and all the things of telling you the classes and loading where it loads, it's just much easier. That's because of the object-oriented, so it's much better. The other part also, if you don't know how to step debug, it will be sometimes really hard. Because you have so many classes that like loads each other, you just don't know where the error actually happens. So if you can step debug and you have breakpoints, it's just much easier. So we basically teach everybody with Amazee like how to use a step debugger, how it works, and now everybody can use step debug, and it's just much easier. One other interesting problem is that most examples you find online, so if you search online, they're completely obsolete. Why? Well, we took 5 years, and during these 5 years, we re-architected a lot of things. So a lot of the examples that you find online, maybe are done for Drupal Alpha somewhere, and they don't work anymore. So if you search for good examples, go to drupal.org/project/examples, which is the exemplary project, which is meant to have examples for you. The other way, just look into core. I mean, core implements its own APIs all the time. And if you want to know, how do I create a menu programmatically? There is most probably a test that does that. So just look into core, and you will see how it works and how it's done. And then also really interesting thing is that non-Drupal developers that are used to Symfony can start working it right away. I talked to multiple Symfony developers from Surrey, and they just said, well, I mean, it's not exactly Symfony, but it's like, yeah, it's really similar. It's something I understand. And then you show them Drupal 7 code and they run screaming away. So it's something they much pick up. And I think that's a really big thing for Drupal 8. Because now we can easily work with others as well, and we see it daily working. So I think that's one of the things that I really like, to have just more people that can now do Drupal, because it's not Drupal anymore. It's just PHP, how everybody else is doing it. Configuration management, the thing we all have waited for. And I can tell you, it's great. It's really awesome. You can just change everything on your local site or in your dev site or whatever. You export your whole configuration, you go to the production, and you install it, and it's exactly there. All your content types, all your fields, everything. The processes behind and the workflows are a bit hard. So if you got your Watchdog book from your goodie bag, in there is a workflow explanation how it works. Because if you have multiple environments and multiple people working at the same time, you just have to figure out your process. But if after you've done that, it's like nobody wants to go back to features. Maybe we want to use features for now what it actually was intended for. But for using features to actually to do configuration management, it's so much better. Frontend, well, go to frontend sessions now, and you will see people be happy. And if you compare them to frontend sessions 3 years before, they were really struggling. So Twig definitely gives the front end now the tool sets they really want. But it's not only Twig. We did a lot of other things. But Twig, yeah, it's much better for them to work to create their custom HTML that they really want to. We found that there is no need for a Contrib-based theme, so we just implement a new one, a plain new theme, because in Drupal 7 we use Omega, but not for the sake of the layouting and stuff, or basically just a resetting. We want to have a bit HTML5 in there. But Drupal 8 is already HTML5 out of the box, so you just create your own theme. You don't need a Contrib theme anymore to build your stuff. And if you are into Twig, you should definitely look into extend and blocks. So basically, templates can now extend each other. So you can say, I have my first template, and I have a second template, and I only override that part, which is really cool. It allows the front-end people to do dependencies in templates, which was not something was never possible before, and now it is. So we use that a lot to just change small little things when the client says, yeah, but on that news blog, the title should be slightly different because whatever. You can now do that in templates, which was a bit of a hassle in Drupal 7. Upgrades. Before beta 9, it was really hard. We've rebuilt AmazeeLabs.com 3 times, completely from scratch, because there was no upgrade path, or writing upgrade scripts took actually longer than just rebuilding the whole thing. So Drupal.com, we spent 47 hours once to upgrade it. We had a fully upgrade script, and you just pressed once, and it was all done, but it took a lot of time. So before beta 9, there is basically no support. So if you have a site before beta 9, you probably have to rebuild it. Or, yeah, no, probably. After beta 9, there was Head-to-Head, which was a Contrib project, which basically created patches for each head. So every time there is a new head, or basically every day or every hour that somebody committed something, a person took on the task to say, okay, I'm going to write a small script that upgrades between these two versions. The good thing is not every head actually breaks your database. So there were not so many. And there's also beta to beta, which is basically just a combination of all the scripts around at once. So if you have a version of the beta 9, that's where you want to go, and you will find all the different scripts to upgrade your site. And since beta 15, we have upgrades in core. So basically, right now, you don't have to wait for the RC. If you now take Drupal 8 and you install it, and there's a new version, there's a beta 16 coming out, you just put the beta 16, hit the update page, and it will update it automatically. So no worries anymore to not use Drupal 8 already because it upgrades you. Maybe please make a backup, because we try as a core team, we try to support everything. We just can't. It's just really hard, but maybe make a backup before. And yeah. Contrib, what we all like in Drupal 7, we're getting there. So Contrib right now is the big, because we are really, really close to API freezes, or it's almost everything frozen now, they don't change a lot anymore, so Contrib can really go in and start playing around. But we still need to work much more on there. It's not done yet. And so what we do, one of the problems is you don't really know from the Drupal.org project page if it actually works or not. It's really hard. You can maybe check on okay, which is the latest version. It's a bit trial and error. So a lot of time you just install it on your local site, and maybe it will break, maybe it will work. It's a bit hard sometimes. So you have to just try it out. But if it's broken, most probably it's not a lot hard to fix. Most of the time, some configuration changed or something else, just a small thing changed, and you can easily fix it. But then, please, please, please write a patch for it. Write a patch for it, contribute it back, so that we all can use it. So overall, you should all start using it. If you don't have a development site on your local, go to Simply Test Me. It's a one-click Drupal 8 tryout, so there's really no very nice. Sorry. Couple of things though. I would suggest to use it if you build a new site, because migrating an existing Drupal 6 or 7, it works, but it's not completely fully done. So if you build a new site, that's definitely what you can use. Or if you only need to migrate some content. Like Amazee Labs, we migrated all blog posts, but we rebuilt all the team pages because they anyway changed. And writing a migration script just for the content was like 150 lines of code. So it was really easy for us to just migrate some of the content. And if you don't need any heavy Contrib modules. So if your website depends on commerce, on organic groups, or other stuff, you definitely have to wait because they are not ready yet. They will be really soon ready, but right now, yeah. So if you need more help, go to groups.drupal.org/Drupal 8 production sites, which is a site where all the crazy people that already have Drupal 8 in production running are on there, and we help each other. So we share code, we share stuff that already works and doesn't work. So it's really great for finding other people and finding help if you run into problems or stuff like that. Yeah, basically that was the session. If you have questions, maybe ask them right now because we have 5 more minutes, or just ask them afterwards. Yeah.
Hi, just one question. You said upgrading content is straightforward or kind of works, and you said from beta 6 onwards. Does content upgrade work from beta 4?
What do you mean with?
Well, you said if you were specifically talking about taking a Drupal 7 site.
Yes.
And you said if you're just moving content, that's pretty straightforward.
Yes.
And then you also said that from 6 onwards, upgrading's easy. What about if you've got a Drupal 8 beta 4 website or beta 4 website and you want to upgrade it?
So migrate module, which is in Drupal 8 core, can upgrade from Drupal 6 to Drupal 7 to 8. It cannot upgrade from Drupal 8 to 8.
Uh-huh.
So if you have a version before beta 9, there is no automated system that can do that, but we released all our scripts that we've built from the different beta versions. We all released them. So you can definitely look into them. And basically what we did, we just migrated from beta 3, I guess, to beta 9. And afterwards, then you have all the other tools.
Okay.
So if you have a version before beta 9, look at the scripts and it will help you there.
Yeah, thank you.
Any other questions? Good. Okay. Then I wish you a lot of fun with Drupal 8. Thank you.